Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the first series of the Evolution podcast, where we meet with owners of coaching and training small and medium-sized businesses to discuss evolving business and client impact in the era of AI. Today, I'm happy to have Xavier Morera with me. Xavier has authored over 60 Pluralsight educational courses. He's reached over 400,000 learners. He has over 12 years in enterprise training in AI, and he's currently the CEO and co-founder of Lupo.ai. Welcome, Xavier. Thanks for being here, and please introduce yourself and fill in any gaps that I left there.
Thank you, Ethan. So basically, you got all your bases covered. I've been in the learning and development space for like 22 years, almost 23. I've worked for big companies like Microsoft, Cloudera, Pluralsight. Just in Pluralsight, about 400,000 people have watched my courses. So it's been plenty of people. And I've traveled the world as a speaker. So here I am, basically.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. Awesome. So today our episode is going to be about scaling without breaking quality in the era of AI, which, Xavier, we think you're perfect to come on and discuss because you've been in the industry long enough to see the shifts in training and the ability to use AI to improve training, but also recognizing that what customers demand and need from a quality standpoint isn't necessarily lining up with some of the services out there. And it seems Lupo is doing a good job of staying on the right side of that by scaling in a way that's operations oriented instead of diminishing quality in exchange for immediate short-term immediate profits.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we jump into specifics on that, would be great, Xavier, just to hear like the story of Lupo.ai and what took you from authoring all these Pluralsight courses and doing all of those things that you were doing prior to transferring that into starting this platform.
So that's actually quite an interesting story because when I started about 23 years ago in the learning and development space, that's training for those of you who don't know. Basically, I was working with a company called Artensoft, which stands for Artificial Intelligence Software, although AI at the time was pretty different. And I was basically a developer who was just working on some migration projects to adopt a new thing called .NET. I actually worked with .NET Beta. If some of you know, that's, you can date me with that. And the thing is that because I usually ended up helping other developers learn things, that's how I ended up. And I'm quite of a outspoken, you might say, developer. So that's how I ended up getting into training. It was not an easy thing. Because my first public speaking was like 20 people. I don't know if that counts as public speaking, but then 25, then 50, and I think presentation number 4 was in front of like 1,500 people. So that's quite a jump. Yes,
That's exponential. That's exponential growth.
yes. It was in Mexico City, and the horse track. They sent me to an event. I had no idea. I've been to a couple of other small events in Guadalajara, Monterrey, and then one in Puerto Rico, and then the big one. Okay. So from there, I kept doing more training. I actually met the people from Pluralsight in the 2008 or around when they were still in-person training because I was doing some stuff in Microsoft. And the thing is that they were doing the jump to video training. And I applied in 2012 and started creating video training, which, but here's the funny thing. I'm an automator, so I always look for ways to automate tasks to make them better and faster. And the thing is that about 7 or 8 years ago, I started to create a platform to help me create my Pluralsight courses faster. I have a works like a Swiss clock workflow for creating my courses, which involves GitHub repositories for some of the text stuff, AWS blobs AWS buckets, the blobs are in Azure, to store all of the binary content, and Jira to keep track of all the production workflow. And about 7 years ago, I started to automate and create tools to do this, which eventually at some point a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, this is kind of close to being a full-blown video generation platform. And that's how Lupo got started. Although the funny thing is that it started as a video platform, but then I realized that people wanted to then publish these videos somewhere else, which is Vimeo, YouTube, or whatever. So I ended up expanding Lupo into a learning management system, which means that instead of using Moodle, you can create your videos and publish them into a platform using the same Lupo platform. But then I decided to improve how people learn. So that's why I started adding AI agents to help people learn how to learn better pretty much, which then got expanded into Lupo. Besides being an LMS with AI agents, it then become a knowledge to execution platform, which is basically what's helping companies right now scale their execution, because you can create the content, share it with your employees or customers, get them to execute consistent, work with the AI agents to know what to do exactly the moment that they need to do it. So it's been quite a ride. So Lupo, you might say it's 7 years in coding, but in the learning space, it's about 22, 23 years in the making.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, it sounds like it's been brewing a long time, and you've kind of been in a lot of fields that were tangential to doing exactly what Lupo's now doing. And it sounds like you brought all of that together to package up a really valuable offering. My next question was actually like, I know that you have clients like Accenture, Microsoft, DHL, Cloudera, and I was going to ask how you're driving value for these clients, but it's pretty clear. I think you've laid it out. Anything else, in case there's a listener out there who might be a potential client one day that you'd like them to know about the value of your service?
So here's the thing. I'm a very small company. Very little. Yeah, I have a handful of people and some AI agents working for me. But the thing is that some companies are using right now HeyGen, Synthesia, and some of those other companies that get hundreds of millions, which, by the way, they charge like that. I don't. I charge very reasonable. So if you're SMB, you can work with me. But the thing is that what these companies are focusing on is on the video generation, what I call the edutainment. I focus on the education. I help you create the videos. They might not look as nice as what you can create with the other platforms, but you can even use the other platforms and just use my LMS. But what I focus on is on helping these companies, once they got their courses and their content, to get out there and make sure that their employees and customers are learning what they need to learn. That's why I say, if you look at my website, my tagline or my hero is capture the knowledge, train the team, scale execution. So it's very easy. I help your company operate better, execute consistently. That's what my value at, not just the nice videos.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think that's another great talking point that I hadn't considered as much for as we move into kind of the content of the episode here. I wanted to ask you what you think the line is between what AI should and shouldn't be doing in terms of content production, but maybe also let's add a layer to that, which is not just the quality degradation that some companies are having as they're trying to overuse AI, but the executional difficulties that are coming from not prioritizing the right parts of what their service is trying to provide value in.
The thing is that AI is here, it's not going away. AI, one thing people say is that AI is not going to replace you, but someone using AI will. I still think that a human in the loop really makes a big difference. But AI is letting these humans operate at 1000x productivity, the
Yeah.
most prolific ones, than what they used to before. I was hearing a podcast by the creator of Cloud Code, Boris, and he was saying that when he was working at Facebook and some other big companies, he was in charge of helping other developers be more productive. And if they got 2, 3, 4, 5% more productive, that would
Yeah.
be a big win, because a 5% productivity increase at a scale of Facebook, for your developers, that's huge. But he says that now at Anthropic, he's been able to see, and other related companies, about 1000x productivity. So that it's exponential. It's beyond your wildest dreams, as a product manager.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the big talking points here today. I remember during our last call, you said that if you got 100 more customers right now, right, that would be a difficult thing to be able to handle in terms of bandwidth, because what you're focusing and sharpening in on is improving your operational efficiency and making sure you're able to be as productive as possible to be capable of scale. What's been going well for you guys in terms of capturing the benefits of that productivity, and what has that enabled you to do with Lupo?
It's It's enabled us to do things that we couldn't even dream years ago. For example, I have a recording of all of my meetings for the past 3 years, and I have an agent that gets them, extracts some information, and does a bunch of other stuff. But the other day, I was reshaping or redoing some of the messaging in my website. So instead of just sitting down and start to think or start prompting with ChatGPT, I basically just took one of the agents and pointed it to my conversation and said, go over the past conversations for the last 3 years.
Yep.
Just look for every time that I've been explaining what Lupo does and now create a message for, and I was doing something specific, and
Yeah.
the message was fantastic. It's things that you couldn't do before,
Yeah.
or it would
Yeah.
take an army to do.
Yeah, right. Like internalizing the large language model is like the most important thing, right? A lot of companies are just using the fact that AI can help them ideate, and they're not doing it even in the context of their own company. And it's like you're missing out on so much opportunity when if you have the actual data of your company synced, you can seriously increase your productivity.
One thing that a few weeks ago I gave a presentation to Caterpillar. Basically, someone at Caterpillar saw one of my courses at Pluralsight and asked if I could give them a presentation. It was on AI value selling. So the whole
Mm,
point was I gave them a presentation on how to present to their management the ideas that they currently have with AI, because not everybody is receptive to all these ideas. A lot of people think that AI is going to replace them or is going to do a worse job that they can. But the point is that you should use AI to help you do better things. And
mm.
again, that I think that's the point. AI at the end of the day ends up being a tool, nothing else.
Yep. More things, better and faster. Yep,
Mhm.
all of the above. And yeah, people need to start unlocking the capabilities and adopting some of the practices that you guys have. And I guess just to dive a little bit deeper into what you guys are focused on right now. As we've discussed, you think that one of the most important things for scaling is ensuring that you have like a really strong operational foundation. I guess I'm curious, what kind of the roadmap looks like over the next 12 months, and what the biggest kind of challenges are right now in terms of flushing out the degree of automation and operational efficiency that you're working on to scale.
So for us, we are getting to a point where I want to do kind of a little bit of a stop, because we've implemented the features that we know that can help companies scale their execution internally.
Mm,
The next step for me is going to be I want to improve the usability, because this usability improvement is what's going to help us scale the number of customers that we have. So I want to do a little bit of a next quarter is going to be focused on usability. We already have
mhm.
everything that helps companies, at least from the ICP, the industry that we're targeting for. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit of a stop, improve,
Mm.
think, and then keep going.
Got you. Got you. And I guess just technically speaking, for people who maybe have less of a ability to like dive into that, what are some of those like tangible things that need to be in place in order to unlock that progression?
Can you give me a couple of examples of what you're thinking so that I can expand?
Yeah, yeah. Like my first step when I was building out my business and improving my operations was okay. I need to build the actual brain structure for my business, right? So I need to have a system such that it understands everything that my business objectives are and has a constant feedback loop going in, so that as I learn and as the business grows and as my team is working, that we're constantly becoming more and more efficient, but also effective because we're compounding all of our learning. So, like, a lot of operational efficiencies, the goal is how can we have a compounding return from the efficiency that we just drove or the automation we just created, so that our infrastructure is not just one plus one. It's like one plus one equals two. It's like one plus one equals three or four. Like, what are maybe some of those one plus ones that need to happen in order to get you to that
So
sum of five?
one of the things is that we're customer obsessed. Most of the features that we have shipped that become things that companies use is because we identified a need at those companies that we've been working with. So, for example, when we started creating the videos, we were using MARP, which now sounds pretty dumb. But then eventually we started to accept other formats that can be used as source to create the videos, like PDF, PowerPoint. You can use Word. So for us at this point, what needs to materialize is we have to get our current customers to use our product more, to identify their usage patterns and which are their pain points so that we can improve those.
Okay. Okay. And what I'm hearing is that there's not necessarily a system in place to collect that kind of data in a way that's efficient and allowing the platform to continuously learn and improve. Or what's the gap between getting to that point from where you are now?
So one of them is we have the agent that analyzes our conversations, and that one is the one who brings the suggestions to us. So the system is we meet with the people, and then we get an agent to analyze that and help us build the roadmap.
Gotcha. And would you say like a future state? I mean, and this is just very like a very impressive state that I'm sure you will get to. A future state is that as people are just using the platform and like watching the videos, like somehow you're able to have a data collection process that's understanding like intrinsically what any disconnect that might exist is between the product's goal and the end outcome to the user, and then that way you're able to fixate on it without necessarily needing to have a constant loop of talking to that manager who may or may not have all the understanding of the degree to which it's worked and not worked for the team. Is that kind of the thought there, or
We
potentially?
have a comprehensive analytics suite that tells us who watches what they do, the videos, do they actually watch the videos or go for the
Oh wow.
transcripts, do they work better with the agents? So based on that feedback, that's what we're going to be using as data to improve our system.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Wow. So many just like compounding operational efficiencies. Like some of it is the exact type of stuff that we do in our work and do to run our business. And I mean, everything I push you on, it seems like, yep, we either thought of it or working on it, or it's already been long flushed out. And so it's very clear that you've got this like background and expertise and consistent mindset of, we need to go and automate this. Like the most efficient way to do this is the only way to do this.
It's because, I mean, kind of, yes, because this platform, so I've been in this space for 24, 23 years, again, 22, 23 years. So I've been on this space for quite a long time. I work with with a whole set of very big companies, again, in the enterprise, so I've seen how they work. At one point, I worked for 5 years for Cloudera Education, and they had a system similar to Lupo. It was called NGPS, New Generation or Next Generation Publishing System or something, but it worked with PDFs, not. So I've seen how other companies have done it. I've also been able to understand the pain points that people have when they create their training. And also, I've been automating this for like 7 years.
Yeah.
My Pluralsight, because it's not like I started yesterday. My constraint, of course, has been budget and the number of customers. I had a potential customer last week who was asking me if we can get on board and do a POC. They're a heating company and they want to give all of their contractors access to their manuals and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I told them, yeah, but I can't help you this
Yeah.
week. I'm focused on finishing. I can help you maybe not next, but the week after. Guys, like, so you're not jumping right on it. I was like, no, I'd rather just finish the projects that I have and then move on to the next one once I'm ready and pretty sure that I can do a very good job, not have projects pile up that I can't
Mhm.
deliver. So again, I at some point I need to automate all this, but the people from Y Combinator, the guy who founded that, said that do things that don't scale first and then automate them, and that's where I'm working on.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I like that. You mentioned that you have it's a contractor company that had reached out to you. Obviously, like it seems like you service a variety of different companies. Are there any different like markets that you're looking to expand into once you have the capacity to take on new clients, and why have you maybe made those choices, or is it just they come to you?
I'm still exploring which might be my ideal ICP. I'm working with a couple of different companies, enterprise, really big data company, a small one on,
Yeah.
again, some uh, company from Spain that has some workflow. So I have some development companies. This week, we're finishing an initial POC for a drugstore pharmacy chain. I'm taking
Yeah.
it, the CEO, I'm meeting with her probably next week, I think. So they gave us the content for the POC. We're going to show it to them. They want to train all of the people across their different stores in the same way. So
Hmm.
I'm still exploring that area, and this is just trial and error. So see which
Yeah.
ones respond better and which ones pay better. I was talking to a guy like 3 days ago, and we were talking about a project, and it was a very small project, and then all of a sudden it started to grow, and we're still in discussions, but again, it's I'm still exploring.
Yeah. So in terms of going about identifying, um, you know, different customer profiles that might be of value, has there been any like use of AI in terms of analysis and the kind of figuring out the approach to going about customer targeting? I know, like your goal is not to push hard on the customer targeting right now, but what's the thought there that maybe will start to rise in the next 5 or 6 months?
So during the in previous lives, as I call it, I've been working on crawlers. So I have a custom GPT that takes some data from some crawls and analyzes what Lupo does. It already has that data trained. It looks at the customer profile, their LinkedIn data, if it's available, and their website, and tries to identify how good of a target it might be. So we have
Yeah,
a kind of a
lead
scoring
scoring,
mechanism.
basically. Yeah, the lead scoring system. Yeah, no, yeah, that's definitely what I would recommend doing in that, right? Because there's just so many different types of companies that can use your service, and you have to prioritize. And the bandwidth problem seems to be the main thing now. I guess kind of my last question before we kind of go into the wrap up here is: have you thought about the plan for obviously automation is a big part of it. Make your existing team as fast as possible. But do you have any plans to use just team expansion? And like, a lot of what our work is we help people become more efficient so that they can grow their business and ideally hire more people, do more with less, but also do more. And that requires hiring. So do you have an approach to that in your scaling?
So yes, but we get to that point once we have understood our market better, and
Hmm.
we have the ICP clearly identified. We have the user experience nailed. So there's still some things that require some help with the user experience to make them do work better. So once I get to that phase, that's when I would like to scale. But again, I'm in the part of building things that don't scale yet. To it's the basically the product market fit where I am right now.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And yeah, okay, yeah. I was thinking the user experience side. Um, I think we already covered kind of yeah, exactly what you need, what the gap is there on the user experience side. So, all right, I mean, that sounds great. It sounds like you're on the path to closing that gap and being positioned to enter a new market. And excited to see what Lupo does in terms of choosing who's next to receive the benefits of the service. It's actually really interesting. I was having a podcast call earlier today with a company that also does AI created video trainings. And not that the video itself is created by AI, but that AI is used very well internally in order to consolidate like large manuals and whatnot. They do it for manufacturing companies and government. So would be happy to connect you guys. I mean, now that you're both podcasts on the show, I tell everyone one of my biggest goals is for people that do similar things to connect with one another and share notes, even if I can't be of value. Hopefully, people that are my guests can be of value to one another. So I think that would be a great conversation. I'm talking to you, and I'm like, I feel like I'm talking to Blake and Tracy this morning again.
Okay, so thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and
Yeah.
it's been great.
Yeah, yeah. And then just for our listeners, wrapping up here, like where should people go if they want to just learn more about like what you've done, both with Lupo or just see your profile? Is just LinkedIn and Lupo.ai the best places?
Yeah, and if they want to watch my courses, it's in Pluralsight. Just look for Xavier Morera, and you'll find me there. So Pluralsight has like 7,000 courses. It's a huge amount. 60 of those are mine.
Amazing achievements, lots of great work you're doing with Lupo, and great to hear your perspective on how AI has been plugging in and where you're taking your business by using it. Thank you. for being here, and yeah, appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
If today's conversation resonated with you and you're looking to learn how business leaders are driving value using AI, make sure to hit subscribe. Feel free to check out our other episodes. And I've also left my LinkedIn in the description below, so you're welcome to connect, and I will see you next time.